Welcome to my Accent is No Accident podcast. I am your host, Maritza Perez, and we are here today with a beautiful soul, a proud Southeastern European Latin who is helping women and humans elevate their lives and overcome their limiting beliefs. She's Sandra Kruger. Sandra Kruger is an American Romanian entrepreneur and a spiritual life coach trainer, master in manifestation techniques through intuitive development, soul consciousness, and the efficient application of the 12 universal laws. She is guiding her clients towards abundance in all aspects of life. With more than 15 years of experience working with over 45,000 students and clients from 170 countries. And based on her personal transformation, Sanda offers applied knowledge and practical steps for mindset and behavioral changes toward expressing the highest potential in each human being. She is an author and the creator of two original fitness programs, Belly Core Fitness and Aqua Core, both registered mark. Sanda, it is an honor to have you here with us today.
Oh, Maritza, thank you so much for the very kind words. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Definitely, I believe that our accents are no accidents. And so I'm honored and humbled to be here and to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Sanda. And with that said, let me ask you our first question. Sanda, what is your accent and why is not an accident?
Well, my accent is, like you said, Eastern European. I'm originally from Bucharest, Romania, and I lived in the United States for 20 years. And as much as I would have liked to believe that I don't have an accent anymore, the accent never leaves us. And so there was a time when I wanted it to be gone. And now I'm just fully embracing it and it's just part of my human identity. So, yes, Eastern European, and it's definitely not an accident because it's part of my persona as who I am today.
Yes, and it's beautiful because it allows us to not only identify us as people from other places, but also allow us to be authentic, or allow us to honor the heritage and the places where we came from.
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's such an honor. And for me, I love being an American Romanian and I love surrounding myself with people from all parts of the world. And so I also love, especially what happened in my life is that I come in contact with more and more and more open-minded, loving, cultural loving people from all over. But most of them here in Florida are from South America. So it makes total sense. It's like the law of attraction at work, Latin from South America, Latin America, and then the Latin from Europe. They just connect. We come together, and there's so much commonality in not only accents but culture and food, music, lots of things that we have in common, even though we would never have thought maybe of that, but here we are.
Exactly. And I love that because, from the very first moment that we were supposed to connect and we couldn't connect at that conference, at the retreat that where we were supposed to meet, it is incredible how the two of us had clicked. And I love that when you told me Southeastern European Latin, and I was like, oh my goodness. I love it. I love it because one of the things that I always tell people are like, there is Latin people from all over, not only Latin Americans, there is also Latin Europeans, and people look at me like, what? Yes, we're not only American Latin Americans.
Yes. And then another thing, just to complete what you said, the fact that I say to people that I am Eastern European and that I am Latin, but then I have this hair color, and they look at me and like in disbelief, like how can you look like European Nordic, you look maybe Russian. And I'm like, no, no, I'm not. And I can understand like 50% or more of your Spanish if you speak around me, just because our languages have the same Latin based roots.
Roots. Yes,
So
yes. And it's beautiful. So, I love to be authentic. And one of the things that is very difficult for somebody that moves to a different country, not specifically US, but from any country to another to country that is not theirs, that has a different culture, is to keep themselves authentic. So how would you define authenticity?
in my humble opinion, authenticity is something very, very personal, obviously. Um, I'm going to answer your question by giving you a couple of extreme examples. I'm somewhere in the middle between those two. So the extremes are that I have so many people that I see in different communities, especially in the Romanian community here in Florida, where they consider authenticity as coming to a different country and being exactly the same like they were at home, and in respecting the same traditions and eating the same foods, and like listening to the same music and even watching the same TV show. So everything is the same. The only thing that's changed is the location. So they consider that authenticity for themselves. And then there are the other extreme where they literally lose everything that they've had from their mother country, and they become one with the new culture, embracing this 100%. And so I'm somewhere in the middle. For me, authenticity is pretty much deciding for myself what it is from my original Romanian culture and European, because I've lived in different parts of Europe, what it is that serves me, what it is that represents me, and then what it is from the American culture, especially the Floridian culture, because it's different than the Californian and New Yorkan. What represents me from the Floridian culture? So I am a little sneaky in a way because I would pick and choose from different cultures and then be myself. But real authenticity means to me really just connecting to my soul, to what I really am. I am soul, connecting to that and following that path, regardless of what other people may say about how that comes across to them,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yes. And and then we talked about this before, and I love to have this conversation with you because yes, I'm Colombian, South American, right? So yes, my community also does the same thing. And I believe that Latinos, we have very strong roots
Yes,
on our culture and the things that we do. But we also have really strong beliefs and values. So to me, authenticity is to merge in with a different culture, but being able to not only honor where you come from, but to also to say, okay, this aligns with my values, but these other things don't. And then I can make a merge, kind of like where you the same thing that you're saying, but the difference is, or not difference, to me is more like, okay, so I don't do certain things because it just doesn't go with my core values. So I honor them and I don't change that to merge into a different culture. I do accept the different culture and I love it and I live it every day, but I don't stop being myself.
exactly. Yes, yes,
And yes, and then I love where I came from. I love my music. I love the way when we meet and in a place we go, "Ah," and then, we're
Yes,
a little
the
loud.
loud.
Yes, we're a little
I love
loud. And then if we like something, we really like it. Oh, and when we don't like something, we really dislike it. And no. And then when we see a friend, we hug them, we kiss them, we hug everybody. So one of the things is I tell, listen, I'm Latin, I'm gonna hug you. You know?
I do the same. I love that. Like I'm a hugger. It's okay. Let's do it. And it's not just like a superficial hug. It's like actually I'm gonna give you a real hug because we share so much energy when we do that.
Yes, exactly. So, and then we also welcome people to our house, to our family. That people, our friends, are part of our family. They become family, and that is very, very natural and innate on us to behave in such way. So that is how I keep my authenticity.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that with me. I relate to everything you said. Yes. I love opening the house. I think that's a very Latin thing. I
Yes.
comparing to other countries, which are not Latin, in which I traveled and I lived for a little bit, the hospitality of Latin people in Europe, I've been in Europe much more, traveling than in South America. South America, I didn't go beyond Mexico, but Europe, like Italy, France, Spain, Romania, all countries. I haven't made it to Portugal yet, but everybody like just receiving you at home with their traditional food and with their music. And by the way, cumbia colombiana, it's one of my favorite rhythms. I'm a dancer. I love, love, love to dance. So yes, your cumbia is the cumbia.
Yes. I love that, and that's one of the things that make us Latin, that we welcome people from other cultures, and we're like, oh, let me show you who we are. Let me here. That's how we dance. That's how we eat. This is how we live. This is, we are always excited about it. We don't try to make people behave like us. We just show them who we are, and we still respect who they are. We know they
Oh
are
yeah,
different.
and isn't it wonderful that we can do this here in this
Yes.
melting pot of a country? That's how I call it. It's like a melting pot. Like literally, there are people from all over the world. So why not allow every one of us to be authentic in
Yes.
our unicity? Like we're so unique. So yeah, I think that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes, it is beautiful. So let's now merge that with how it works for everybody else. How would you,
Mm.
as a life coach of abundance, help and say to people how can they connect to themselves, their authentic selves, and how can they stay themselves consciously being authentic?
Yeah, it's a great question because more and more people these days are called towards reaching this authenticity. And from my personal perspective, based on everything I've studied, everything I read, and what I'm observing myself in the society, in the human calling right now, is that many people are receiving this call towards being themselves, finding out. It's like imagining a scavenger hunt. Like we've had so many layers with which we've covered who we really are on the inside, and now we're called to just get naked, so to speak, like uncover all these layers just to find out what my core is. And so many more people are called towards this and they are working on uncovering. So that's why I always say it's not about learning, it is about unlearning what we have learned, through our habits, our behaviors. And so, as we were saying, each culture has its own particular habits and behaviors. But if we look across the globe, there are lots of commonalities, right? Like we all have to eat, we all have music, even though it may be different. We all express through dance, even though it may look different. We all have interactions one with another, even though they may be, different rituals and stuff like that. But we all have this basic need of exchanging this energy between each other. And then also at a global level, we all have the basic need of resources. And
Yes.
I'm not talking only about like food and water and a roof on top of our heads, but it's also about money. It's also about different types of resources that allow us to live a happy, comfortable, fulfilled life. So because of this calling more and more, and because of this clarity of like not having to add more on top of what we already have, but actually divulge one by one, removing the layers, who we really are in order to get to our core. And so this is something that's been switched in the last few years in the life coaching industry, especially for those life coaches who have been doing this for a long time, like myself, who know now the difference. Because for many years, I've done it in the way like it's done with all this empirical evidence coaching. You come to me, I take you from point A to point B, and it's mostly about setting goals and having this, structured steps of how do you get from here to where you want to be. But more and more now, it's about, well, let me help you discover who you really are. Because once you discover who you really are, the manifestation process, it is so much easier, so much faster, so much smoother. It's like, you're tapping into this unlimited energy of potential that each and
Mhm.
every one has. So we're not addressing only the surface, only changing habits of behavior at the mind level and at the visible human level, but we go deeper these days in life coaching where we're actually helping people discover their own authenticity and start manifesting from there. So that's the big shift, and that's how I am doing it these days.
I love it. I love what you're saying, and it's connecting to yourself, that one that is innate in you, um,
Yes.
as a human, as a spirit, not only as where you came from and your heritage, but also your soul.
Yes. The soul is the
So
key.
yes, exactly. That is wonderful. I love that. So speaking of the innate, who you are,
Mhm.
um, how can you connect to your innate power and use it to manifest abundance in wealth, happiness, relationships, etc.?
Yes. Thank you for saying that abundance does not only refer to money. First and foremost, thank you for saying that, because 90% of people who are taking my courses and who are getting into the abundance and manifestation programs, they do come focused on finances, just to realize within the program that actually that's one of the things that of course is very important, but it's not really a priority as much as they thought it was. And so happiness and fulfilled relationships and like a fulfilled career or a growing business, for many people are more valuable, and they are under the big umbrella of abundance. So how? That's the question. And it's a process. First and foremost, it's not going to happen overnight. Let's think about the habits that we've created since we were children, right? We have certain beliefs, certain habits of behavior that most of them have been given to us by the ones who raised us and by the society in which we grew up. But they're not necessarily us. They are just these layers. I call them costumes. and often masked. So I believe that each and every one of us has a full wardrobe, a full closet. And so the house stands a lot into decluttering. And what does that really mean at a conscious mind level? It means, first of all, understanding that the mind has three parts. The first part is the supraconscious, which corresponds to the soul and to which we connect with our intuition, through our intuition. That's the first part of the mind. The second part of the mind is the conscious mind, which is our rationale, our logic. Like many people say, oh, I choose this because logically it makes sense to me. And so, what many people don't know is that this part of the mind starts developing around 7 years of age. So, we are not born with it and we don't have it in the early age. And then the third part of the mind is the subconscious. The subconscious is that part that holds like a huge warehouse with no endings, holds everything that we've ever experienced in this lifetime and maybe even from before, as it's more shown lately. But so at some point when we are aligned and we're ready to manifest, the supraconscious and the subconscious will align. So then my behaviors, my beliefs, they all stand to support whatever path my soul wants to take. And that will lead me to abundance, because here's the thing, we are not here to live in scarcity. Unless we have some kind of a soul contract that makes us, suffer in this lifetime. But most of us don't have that. Most of us are meant to live in abundance, in prosperity. So how do we get from where we are to where we want to be? Well, first of all, we start decluttering. And second, we start understanding. So self-awareness is actually the key. Self-awareness, starting understanding that, yes, I have a mind, which is my tool. But who is me? Who is this I that has a tool? And that's me, as in soul, as in spirit extension, as in God extension, which is, a stretch for many, especially in a traditional culture with a traditional religion. So it's spirit extension. That's the soul. The soul, it's an extension of this great spirit. And so if I start becoming self-aware of who I am, then I can start manifesting from this point of attraction instead of manifesting from the human conditioned limitative point of attraction from which I've manifested all my life so far. And it took me to where I am today. So if I want anything different, more, and I feel like I've done everything I could, like I'm working hard, I am, living in the word of God, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do at a societal level, but somehow something is missing and I cannot get from where I am to where I know I'm supposed to be, financially, relationship wise, whatever it is, health wise as well. So literally the steps are: uncover who you really are, become aware of your true essence. And then at the surface level, at a life level, there are a few methods that we use. And the most important one is meditation. Meditation is literally helping us dissolve the mind and become in control of our lives. So I'm using this metaphor with my students and my clients very often. I'm using the metaphor of the car. So I know there are different variations of this metaphor, but for me, each and every one of our lives, it's a car. So imagine the most beautiful, the most amazing car you ever wanted, right? And this is your life. You are already in it. And so the question now is, who's driving this car? Because there are three options here, and they correspond to the parts of the mind that I just mentioned. So is the soul, the supraconscious, driving the car like it should be? Then the most natural way, this is the best driver we can have. However, what's happening most of the time is that our souls, us as in our essence, it's shoved down somewhere in the back of the trunk. And so in the driver's seat, at the wheel of our life, it's actually the subconscious programming. And so there are so many good things, and we've started with that. There's so many amazing things about the way we were raised, but there are also things that really limit us.
Yes.
Like my own personal, growing up, my own personal stories about being a woman and, you know, the money situation as being a woman, and like, you know, maybe your life doesn't really start until you have a man and form a family and stuff like that. And so all those, I now see them as what they are, and they are not corresponding to my soul, which tells me everything is amazing. You are all capable. You're all wonderful. You are all pure love, and you can manifest whatever it is in your life. Just follow soul, let the soul drive, and then the car is going to go wherever you want to have an abundant, fulfilled life. But then if the subconscious programming is actually driving my car, and the soul is like, I'm not even aware, and many people are not, I'm not even aware that I'm a soul. I think I identify with my body, my name, my job, my family relationship. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, right? But those are not real. Those are just labels. Those are just, you know, they don't represent my essence. So then again, who's driving the car? That's what I help my clients figure out. Let's see, who do you want to drive your car, and how can we put the right driver in the driver's seat? Because so far it wasn't there. So far it wasn't even in the back seat. You know, so let's become aware of who you are. You want to drive this car, you are soul. Let's, you know, put you in the driver's seat. So it's pretty fun,
Yes.
actually.
It's is the ability to not, I don't like to use the word control, the word control. I don't like to use it, but it's the ability to be able to step into yourself and be in on a not not take away anything from your surroundings, but take everything of who you are. And it's not only, I really don't like to use so much the word control, because then it sounds like we're manipulating, and it's not manipulative. It's
No,
it's not manipulative. It's only realization of who you are, and
yes,
realization that actually nobody gets to drive your car. The car is probably being parked all this time because you're not driving it.
yeah. You're probably just kind of like, more than a car, you're a boat that is kind of waved around by the wind and the waves of the ocean. So it's just like floating around and has no direction. And many people live like that. Many people are like just going with the flow. And this is a, you know, I'm not trying at all to be mean. I'm just trying to create the visual. But in Romania, we have still lots of shepherd humans with like big herds of sheep, and the dogs, the shepherd dogs, are guiding the herd of 100, 200 sheep. And so the herd will go in the direction in which the dogs and the human are, you know, telling them to go. So this is what I think happened until now, until the last couple of years. I think it happened like that with most of the human beings, just kind of going with the flow. And it's okay. And I agree with you. I don't like the word control either, because I don't think it's at all about control. I think it's actually the opposite of that. It's about allowing, it's about being so free and so open and so trusting. Because I think that's the problem. We tend to hold control, and that's exactly how the subconscious and the conscious mind are in one. It's in the driver's seat, and the other one it's in the right hand side usually, right? The conscious mind, here's the thing about it. Our logical mind will support and be a great cheerleader for whomever is driving. It doesn't know who's driving, because let me give you some examples. Let's assume that somebody has, it's in front of this dream job of theirs, and it's fulfilling them to the core of their soul. but it's something new. It's something unusual. It's something they've never done before. They are scared. Fear comes from the subconscious. The subconscious is the emotional mind. The subconscious has our limitations, like cap, that's it. And so let's assume that in my example, this person already has a good job in which makes a good salary. It's all good, right? It's a stable, good, comfortable, mediocre job. But then the amazing opportunity of their life dream, it's presented to them. And their soul themselves from the trunk is like bong bong, like, hey, take this opportunity. So the impulse is there because the soul is always going to give us this intuitive impulses like, do this, do this, do this, take this direction. But then the subconscious is driving, and the subconscious is going to be like, yes, but what's going to happen? I'm going to worry about something that haven't even happened yet, hasn't even happened, like the future. We, in the subconscious, we either are focused on being worried about the future, or we're focused on being caught in the past. Like, oh, well, because this has happened before, I'm not going to take this opportunity now, right? But and the conscious mind is going to come and bring rational reasons to whatever the subconscious is going to say. If you have the fear, the conscious mind is going to come and back that up, and it's going to be like, yes, you're right. You know what? It's better if you stay where you already are because it's comfortable there. You already make a salary. You have vacation. You have this. You have this. Why would you jump the ship and do something? And it's giving you all these logical reasons. But if the supraconscious will be in the driver's seat, is the soul, we allow the soul to drive, the conscious is still going to be in the right hand seat, and it's going to give you the reasons, like when the intuition is telling you, I should do this is feeding my soul, then the conscious, if it's prepared for it, can come in and say, you're right, you should follow your dreams because look where you've been so far. And so the conscious mind is really not the driver of anything. It's either supraconscious or subconscious. And it's matter of us. What do we choose? And yeah, we can change drivers anytime.
And that is beautiful because when we use it like this, when we say just allow yourself being happy and free instead of control who you are, um, we go back to if I am in control of myself, then I get to control others, and we go back to the same place where we're not supposed to be. Yes, we
Yeah.
close ourselves to what we're not. So it's the allowance to let that spirit be free and guide you. And it's beautiful, and you will be guided. And then let's go to the next question that I have, which is what
Sure.
is intuition?
Yes. Well, intuition is the voice of yourself, of soul. Intuition is the voice of God. So here's how I see soul, and I've mentioned it already. Soul is extension of spirit, extension of God, extension of the universe. Abraham Hicks calls it extension of source energy. That's what we are in physical bodies. So we are spiritual beings who live a human experience, pretty much. So intuition, it's that sixth sense, like many people call it. We have the five senses, which are usually connected to our bodies, right? We can see, we can smell, we can taste, we can hear, and we can feel the touch. Those are the five senses. Intuition is the sixth sense, which is feeding directly information from our non-physical self. And this non-physical self, it's actually the power. It's powering our bodies. It's powering also our minds. So to give you a visual, it will be like there is this all beautiful, imagine a sphere of colorful, beautiful, bright light. And then in it, there is the body. And then the body is more like tool, right? Like a tool for the spirit to express itself. And also the mind is a tool for the spirit to live this amazing life experience in this reality right now, right? So this is what intuition is. It's that amazing guidance that if we tap into and we learn how to do it on a regular basis, again and again and again, and we let the soul drive the car, then intuition, it's what the voice that we hear when we hear the guidance of that driver, right? It is the GPS that we are going to receive directions from, through, not from, but through. So yeah, that's intuition. It's like the most beautiful thing we can tap into.
Yes. And I like to also say that intuition is that feeling in that thought that when you're, let's say you're about to walk somewhere, um, something in your stomach tells you,
Yeah,
no,
the gut feeling.
it feels weird to go in or to
Mhm.
or when you meet somebody and oh, so I'm saying it about the negative things, but there is also intuition is that one thing that drives you and you're like, you gotta do it because you have to do it. And then you have to go there and you try many times until it finally gets through and it makes you feel fulfilled. That also was your intuition saying, this is what you're meant to be and this is where you're meant to 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 go and be doing. So
Yeah, it is
intuition,
both. Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Yeah, and the first level, the first example you gave me, it's exactly intuition can definitely protect us, and it's when it overlaps in a way with the subconscious. The subconscious usually corresponds to our limbic brain. That it's the brain that wants to keep us in survival, right? It wants us to not die, and it's good to have that. It's good to have that so we don't jump off a cliff just like that. But at the same time, it depends on again who's driving. Because the intuition can show you like danger, danger, that this can be dangerous. But it if if fear it's the predominant emotion and based on fear we freeze, then the subconscious is driving the show. Intuition is just going to bring us to our attention like there is a potential danger, but what do you choose? Like there is danger, but maybe there is a different way that you can go around things. Like you don't have to freeze and like, we have the fight or flight, um, and
yes,
freeze sometimes effect. And many people act in life, like I was giving the example earlier with the new job, the new career of of your dreams. Many people get stuck because we have been programmed to live in societies run by fear. There's the fear of everything. There's the fear
mm,
of what people say. There's the fear of feeling guilty and feeling, like inappropriate and not fitting in and making mistakes. Even fear of success. There's so many fears, but those
yes,
are not real. The soul, as in us, as in our essence, has no fear, zero fear. It's
yes,
like every little. So from a soul perspective, and I was talking about it with one of my friends the other day. From a soul perspective, we everything we are exposed to as humans, it's received with excitement and the curiosity of a 5, 6, 4 years old. Like
yes,
even it's perceived that the rational mind as negative, like a 5-year old or even a younger toddler, every time it falls, it's gonna come up. Every fall, it's a great experience.
yes. they're
And
not
that,
afraid of anything.
nope,
When you
we
and
are
that's
not
what
born with
I
that.
yeah, I love it because I was gonna say that. I'm like, um, fear comes from from a place of anxiety. But let's go back to when we were children. Everything was exploration, getting to know new things, and we were afraid of nothing. And people will say, "Be careful, you're gonna fall," and you would just do it anyway. And some kids that were a little more shy, like I've seen it. If the kid is a little more shy, they believe the adult, and that's when we kind of mess up our children instead of explaining what could happen and why, we say no, and then we stop them. So this is beautiful because it brings me to a different question. And as we grow and as we go through life, society and life experiences create blocks, create fears that are not true, create anxieties. What techniques do you think are good to get through those blocks and live a free life? Hi, I'm very happy to know you are here watching our podcast today. It is an honor to be featuring so many entrepreneurs on the journeys of their inside voice, their accent that is not an accident. And we want to reach out more people like you who are creating a better world of diversity, inclusiveness, equity, and belonging. So please take a moment to hit the subscribe button below, like, and share to others. And even if you want to leave a comment, that'll be nice. Thank you for your support. And now back to the episode.
It's a beautiful question. In order to answer this question at an adult level, I still have to go back to the very early ages because I want to make two distinctions here. First of all, I didn't mention it before, but the subconscious mind does not know anybody else but us. So when we say that the society or the circumstances or other people create blocks and limitations and obstacles in our way, that is a, a certain way of putting it. But what I believe it's the truth is that because the subconscious mind does not know anything else, um, it's actually us. We are the creators of all these perceptions and perspectives. Because the world and the universe in itself are unlimited and everything is possible. There are no obstacles really in the energy world, unless the obstacles that we create in our own paths. And so it's the obstacles are usually based on our subconscious. And and when the supraconscious starts driving the car, things are starting to change because now the perception of me as a limited being with a limited power as victim of my environment, the government, the society, the country, the whomever, that disappears. I don't see myself in report to anything and anyone as like an lack of powered kind of human. Now I see myself like intertwined with everything, kind of like a web in which I have power, just like everybody else around me has power. And so it's a whole different level of attraction from where we start manifesting things in life once we understand that subconscious means only me. So, for example, I'm going to give very real examples. When people think of others, negative thoughts, when people criticize others, when people think like, oh, this person is ugly, dumb, stupid, unprepared, whatever it is as negative, attributes. Our subconscious doesn't think that about anybody else. It thinks that's about us because it doesn't know anybody else. So all the negative thoughts that we have about the society, a human, other human being, a situation, it's all coming back to us. And so why does this
Yeah.
happen? It happened because early childhood, and now I'm meaning like since the first day of life, that's all we've seen. We've
Okay.
seen this happening in our parents. Like even people who are saying like, oh my, I've never seen my parents fighting, or I've never seen my grandparents fighting, I've never seen any conflict around me. But the subconscious, it's awake all the time. So how many times do we see parents having all these discussions when the baby sleeps in the next room with the door open, and like, or the baby sleeps next to them, or and the baby is a baby, the baby just sleeps, but the subconscious is awake. It's going to absorb everything that it said,
Mm.
every energy that it's exposed to. So then this programming starts way before we even start like forming memory and all these things. It is even before we are born. When we are in the mother's belly, we can hear things and we can absorb energy and emotion. And so the programming has been started a long time ago. Now, as adults, our call is to get to know this, to get to know our programs. And like I said, start cleaning up the closet. Of these programs are not for me? What is for me? What I would like to keep? What I would like to throw away? And here's the cue: nothing can be really deleted from this big warehouse in which we have tons of filing, with everything we've been ever exposed to, all memories, all the sounds, taste, whatever. Nothing can be really deleted. I call it as being deactivated. We can deactivate a program that we've been based on 40 years by not by just pure will. Like I'm using my will and I'm going to focus, I'm going to be different. Surprisingly, I know that as a coach, that doesn't really work very much. The pure will has been working only like a very small percentage of the times, and it's always when there is something coming from the inside, right? Like it's not pure will, is not the key. So then what do? Well, we have to create a new, and we can use pure will here, create a new program to cover, deactivate, cover the old one. So this is what we do as adults. This is how we can get to to really being who we are, just
Mhm.
digging deep, finding the connection with the soul, letting the soul drive, and then eliminate, deactivate all the other programs that are coming from childhood. And as adults, we have the power to do that because now we know better, and we can be
Yes.
nicer and kinder and better to ourselves.
Yes, and I like these like the way you're saying it. I like to tell people if those of you who have not watched Inside Out,
Oh yes.
that's that's how our brain works. We have some core memories, and those core memories are the ones that Sandra was talking about, that our brain captures absolutely everything that is going around the world. Even when we watch on TV, so that's why, like when my daughter was growing up, there were a couple of shows that I did not allow in my house to play
Yeah.
because they were not real situations that happen in a happy life. So you don't
Yeah.
want to show a child things that are all the time yelling at each other, and things that are negative in some way or another. You just they're children. They're gonna absorb that, and they're gonna think that that is the reality, and the reality is not that. Later on, you're gonna have difficulty explaining to them that that is not reality. They don't
Yeah.
know. Like if you ask a child, what is reality? They're like, what?
What's that word?
Yes.
Yes, yes. But just like you were saying now that, you mentioned about your daughter growing up, and we can do the same thing with ourselves as adults.
Mhm.
Like, kind of like putting this, and if you want to use control in any way, this is how we can use control
Yes.
for ourselves. Like, I haven't watched the news in years. I don't have cable since 2015, I believe. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for cable. I'm not going to go online and like look at different news, because what's on the news? On the news, it's only negative stuff. It's things that I don't want to expose myself with. If I'm connected to my soul, I know that it's all well. I know that at the surface there are wars, and I'm very concerned about that. But I also know that there is a bigger power that I can tap into to understand exactly the reasons why things are happening the way they happen in the world right now. I
Hmm.
can meditate and receive all the answers I need. And even when I don't meditate, I can just receive and transmit further. It's all about love. But when the energy of the earth in general and of the humanity per total, it's at a lower level, things do happen. Wars happen. Natural disasters happen. Why? Because the earth, it's being the mother of all of us, it's kind of cleaning up energies. I don't know how to say it differently without sounding really weird, but it's cleaning up energies in the way that, yes, it's going to offer us certain things in order to, clean up, and then new souls are born that are at a different frequency. And
Yes.
so it's a perpetual process. It's, like in the universal law of rhythm, just like the seasons are coming and going, it's a
Yes.
never ending process. And that's for us too. We're part of it. It's a cycle of life and death, and it's all natural. And so there's no fear in that. Um, Fear only comes, like I said, from the subconscious mind, um,
Yes.
which is made to like keep us surviving. But
Yes.
when I'm connected to my soul, do I really just want to survive? No, I'm here to thrive. And is my thriving depending on anything that's happening around me? Is it depending on my money levels in my bank account? Is it depending on, how is it outside? Is it depending? No, my happiness, it's based on me, not on my relationships, not on anything else. Those are extras. They are the
Yes.
candy on the cake and the icing and everything else. But the cake, it's me with me, if that
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yes. And I love that you touched two things that I loved. Um, Number one, don't allow the surroundings control you. And that means the news, for instance, you commented on that. Just pick and choose what is real and what is not. What people say on TV, what maybe leaders say. Just choose your reality and
Yeah.
check with your consciousness. Is this part of my core values? Am I gonna believe these?
Hmm.
Am I gonna let these really affect me? Am I gonna let these change who I am, my beliefs, my core values? And um, I mean, just always check with your core values. And if you yourself wouldn't do or say those things, then don't follow that. And then the second thing that you mentioned is, have a control on how you feel. And being happy is not every single second of your life you're going to be happy, because this is life. You're going to get hurt. The other day, oh, my thing fell. The other day, I fell. like 2 weeks ago. I felt that's going to happen. It's an accident. I fell down. Don't try to
Yeah.
think, oh my goodness, what happened? What did I do wrong? Don't guilt
Yes.
yourself because no, you fell down and I hurt myself. And now what you're gonna do? Now I'm a little older. I'm not 20 anymore, so I have to go to therapy because I hurt myself. But that doesn't mean that that happens to me because I'm a bad human being
Oh no.
or
No.
because um I did something wrong to somebody. No, it just happened because I did not pay attention where I was going and I fell.
Yeah. But it takes us back to what we're saying about the toddlers, right? Like how many times we fall as a toddler, and even later, how many times we fall when we first start riding a bike, for example, right? We
Yes,
fall with, but so falling and pain, like getting hurt, does not mean we need to suffer. Like pain, it's part of life. Suffering, it's optional.
yes,
So as a baby, as a child, as a child, like teenager, whenever, every time we fall, every time we trip and fall, like in Romania, we had snow in the winter, right? Snow, and we had this ice, and as children, we will just slide on the ice and stuff. Of course, you're gonna fall, and I was full of bruises, but it was fun, you know. So
yes,
and that's the thing, like it's just a matter of attitude. How do we receive whatever happens in life? Because that's all about allowing. Again, allow whatever comes to you because your soul knows you, as in soul. I say your soul, but it's not something that you own, it is you. You, as in soul, know the right path. And sometimes as adults, we fall as a red flag. Like, hey, um, it's funny that you said 2 weeks ago. I also felt the first week, the first day I got to Orlando. I felt so bad for the first time in my life down the stairs from the half of the stairs.
oh,
I had a like a big like a bump here.
big bump.
I was on my right side, like I literally went down the stairs with my head first. And
Oh,
the first time in my life, right? And I sat down there and I knew that it was like a big red flag for me because the universe talks to us. It gives us signs in the body. Once you get a little bit more intuitive and tuned in, you feel it. I feel goosebumps. I know when something is real, when something is true. I know when I'm supposed to follow a path because it guides me through the body, through the mind. I get these impulses, right? So that day, I've ignored some impulses. That day, I let the subconscious get a hold of me. I was feeling shame and guilt about something, which I normally don't do often anymore. But we are in the time in which these very deep things hidden from inside are coming to the surface for us to process them. So, because of that, like, here you are. Oh, you're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening. Good. Let me shove you down the stairs because now you're gonna listen. And so I didn't break anything. It was perfect. And I literally I knew right away that that was a sign that it was, and I knew why too. And yeah, I didn't suffer from it. Like, and surprisingly, any other bruise, it will last because like it will last a long time for me. All these bruises went away like within a few days. It
yes,
was just like a good parent God's, it's like,
yes,
hey, you know, there's no need for you to create suffering for you, putting yourself through shame and guilt, which I was doing at that point. Because none of us is perfect, right? We cannot be connected nonstop with our intuition and just because we're here to explore this contrast.
yes,
And so here's the contrast. It's just that now, for me particularly, the contrast it's like stronger. It hits
yes,
me differently.
yes. But
So
then also you cannot. I mean, I have this thought that um although there like accidents happen, and but
all
not
the time.
absolutely every accident has a meaning. It's just sometimes it's just an accident. Like what happened to me was like I fell down because there was something on the way and I didn't see because I had the big comforter in front of me and I
Mm-hmm.
fell down. Uh, but what happened after was the sign, which was beautiful. The
What
one
happened?
who came into my rescue was my daughter, and it was beautiful because it allowed a bonding moment. And then we had a wonderful day. We all were super happy, and we had a wonderful day, and we were like laughing and everything. So my daughter came to my room. I live with my mom too, or my mom lives with us, and we have been throughout the last years taking care of her. Um, so this time showed me what taking care of grandma has taught my daughter.
Nice.
And I'm like,
Yes.
look how beautiful. Then she immediately called my husband because she couldn't pick me up. And then my husband and her were helping me. And then, it was like, I know what I have to do. And she's only 17. And I'm like, look how mature my daughter is.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was beautiful. So sometimes is just a sign just to you're loved. You're okay. You're loved. You don't have to worry about anybody around you. You're loved. Look, what you have is enough. So that's how I took it. And sometimes the signs are just something beautiful, and sometimes the
Yes.
signs, are
Oh, yeah.
like, don't go there.
Yes. 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 That's a
But
beautiful story. Yeah.
so that's what I take from there, and also that probably I had something in me that I haven't taken care of, but it's good that we are always aware of where we are and be in the present moment,
Yes.
and also don't become the type of human being that is looking at the future all the time or stuck in the past all the time. Just be present. Be present is being here today, with what you got today, and be happy with what you have.
That's the key to manifestation.
Yes,
Nobody can really manifest if they're focused on the past or the future. Because the power of creation is actually in the present moment, in every now. Here and now, it's where we have the true power. Anything else, it's just an illusion. And so,
exactly.
yeah, you cannot, we cannot, none of us, we cannot create anything. And besides, if we're not happy with where we are right now, that creates a point of attraction for whatever it is that we want to manifest that is not going to serve us. It's going to bring us more of what we have. So, no matter what, it's going to bring us more of what we have, and actually, it's going to bring us more of who we are. So, if a person is really like content with its life, but is looking around and it says, well, this is missing, like I would like more money. I'll just give an example, right? Many people are thinking this way. I would like more money. I would like my business to make this kind of revenue. And so, but I'm content where I am right now. Now, how do you really feel? Because that's one of the keys that I work with my clients on. Identifying emotions. We've been so taught by the societies in which we were raised that certain emotions are not okay to be admitted. They are part of like what Carl Jung was calling the shadow. And so we were so taught to hide our shadows. Like, for example, in some societies, dressing up and doing your hair and putting makeup on, it's seen as vain. And so it's not a positive thing for you to enjoy doing that because they're saying, well, you're doing that just to get attention from others. So then the people who are actually feeling from deep inside that they would like to look good and maybe the attention from others. It's okay, right? It's like embracing who we really are, authenticity, to complete what we're saying at the beginning. It means embracing every aspect of our being, even what's in the shadow. Looking in the shadow and saying, yes, sometimes I get cranky. Sometimes I get, like affected by this or whatever. I am a human being here to express contrast. As a soul, I'm in perfect harmony and bliss. As a human, I am not. And so it's so important to make the peace, not only the peace, but to love whatever it is. And for manifestation, if I don't know that deep inside I'm actually functioning on frustration, because I'm looking around and my life does not sound like I would like it to be,
Yes.
well, then I want something, because this is what's happening. Many people are functioning on frustration, on scarcity. I don't have enough of this, of this, of this, but they want something more. They want something better. And they cannot manifest something better because you're going to manifest exactly what you give out of you at an energy level. And that means pay attention to your emotions. And that's the key. You need to know how you really feel on the inside.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's wow, it's a big deal because people don't. But
Yes.
they start.
Yes, I love this. And I love our conversation. We're getting to the end.
Yes.
And I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience how they can find you and how do you actually help others.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for being here. My courses, I write courses, and they are life coaching certification courses. And I publish them on different platforms like transformationacademy.com, successcoachingacademy.com, udemy.com. I also have them, and I'm working on translating them in Romanian, to offer them in Romania, and that's on satoriromania.ro. And I am also hosting this new retreats that I started last year, and they are in Transylvania, and I'm super excited about them. And you can find more details on successcoachingacademy.com. .org, I'm sorry, successcoachingacademy.org, about the retreats. To me, my whole mission is about helping others and giving as much message from above as it comes to me for each and every one of the people I come in contact with, as they need in order to align with their true essence, with who they really are. So I'm all over social media. I post a lot about this subject in particular. So I'm really excited that I get to live. I chose to live in this time of when humanity is like, it's awakening. It's awakening. So it's a lot of fun, actually.
Yes, and I love it. I was looking at the website actually about the retreats and I'm like, "Oh, that looks amazing." That
Oh,
looks
thank you.
beautiful and amazing. All the pictures are there, and I encourage everyone to visit and explore and set up an appointment with Sanda and see how
Thank
she
you so
can
much.
help you.
Well, I'm looking forward to send the link for this podcast to all my students, and I'm all about serving. So anything I can do to bring you to people's awareness, because I think your message is amazing. And I think
Thank you.
it can touch so many, many, many thousands of people. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you so much, Sanda. This was wonderful, and we could continue the conversation for hours and hours. So, to
Yes.
you, our audience, thank you so much for being here with us. Click the subscribe button, give us a like and a nice comment. And don't forget that you came to this world because you were loved. to be loved and to love one another. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.
Hi, it's Maritza here. If you like this episode of My Accent is No Accident podcast and would like to listen more like this, subscribe wherever you're listening to it or watching it. Leave us a nice review and share with your friends, family, and network. Thanks for listening.